Hello, hello. Welcome back to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo. I am your host, Renee Bowen. If you're new here, I am a photographer for many years, and I'm also a business and a certified life coach for creatives of all kind. I like to say for badass creatives like you. So if you are finding yourself in need of a business or a life coach or both, because usually that's the case, get in touch. All my links are below, and let's chat and see how I can help you. My goal is to help you become profitable while not hustling more. Okay. So it's all about ease and flow and receiving while also taking inspired action in your business. I do believe that we have to have a little bit of both, which is the whole concept of this show. Tried and true, things that we know work with a dash of woo. Okay. We got to believe in magic and have optimism. So we have to have both. Maybe it's my Libra rising. I don't know, who strives for balance and integration. I like to use that word a little bit more than just balance because I feel like it's kind of impossible to achieve total balance with all of that. But integrating all of that into our lives while feeling calm and nice and regulated. And so we can actually have the kind of businesses that we truly, truly desire and deserve. So today I have a really fun guest for you guys. And if you're a photographer, you are in for a special treat because I have a stylist on the show today, and she is a game changer for family photographers, senior photographers. You're going to want to tune into this 100%. Her name is Whitney Ford, and she is the stylist behind Styled by WI. She specializes in family photography styling, in addition to styling couples, newborn sessions, and also now high school seniors. She's a mom to 3 little ones. She met her husband on a blind date, and they now live in Mesa, Arizona. She is, though, a California native. So she has such a cool background, you guys. She was raised by her parents are both international models turned photographer and makeup artist. So like her dad is now a fashion photographer, her mom is a makeup artist, and she grew up in this world of fashion and photography and like just being a child of 2 wildly creative people. I think is just so fascinating, like as a whole other topic in and of itself. But you can really tell in this conversation that I have with her, like why she's good at what she does. The other thing is that prior to styling families, Whitney worked in the digital marketing space as a social media and a brand manager for businesses across the country, from small cafes to Fortune 500 companies. And her first job right out of college was what she called basically her dream job. She was working in the brand management department for a shoe designer in LA. And that laid the groundwork for a lot of her understanding of the fashion world. So she is very uniquely qualified to do what she does. She says her passion for styling is rooted in the desire for people to prioritize having these special seasons of life documented and loving the outcome, which starts with loving with what you're wearing. And she herself is a huge fan of photography. She gets her family photos done at least twice a year. So she really gets what we do and how special it is. And so you're going to absolutely love her. She is fascinating and so very talented. And she breaks down how you can get in touch with her and how you can use her services. There's a lot of different options, actually. And I love that she's making those available to all of us. So get ready to be like super inspired. And I cannot wait to see how many of you guys start using her styling services, because I feel like this is a big game changer. And I mentioned this in the podcast, but like we are entering like this world where AI is starting to do all kinds of stuff, right? But I think what's going to happen is that, we really are going to need more opportunities to set ourselves apart in a more personalized way. And what a fantastic service to offer your photography clients. They can either work directly with her or you can work with her and roll this into your pricing. It's absolutely a game changer. I think, because this high level of service that you offer your clients is going to make a lot of difference in just how they feel cared for, how, you walk them through this experience and provide an actual experience and really set yourself apart as a higher end boutique full service photographer. So let's get into this really fun conversation with Whitney. You're going to love her. Okay, Whitney, you have a really cool career. Okay. I came across you online. I was like, immediately, I've got to get her on this show because I feel like this service is something obviously that photographers, need. But I want to talk a little bit about how you came to create this amazing career of yours, and tell me a little bit about like what that looks like for you, basically.
Yeah, so this family photography styling like just fell into my lap kind of. It was very serendipitous. So um I was raised by parents that were former models, and my dad is now a fashion photographer. My mom is a makeup artist, both for brides and in the commercial industry. So she does makeup and hair. And I kind of like I have that skill set, that creative eye. I feel like I could have become a photographer if I wanted to. I have all
Mm-hmm.
the hand-me-down equipment. I kind of have, just grown up around that. I could probably have been a makeup artist if I wanted to. I did pageants all through my 20s. I ran a pageant for 8 years in the Miss America organization.
Wow.
Feel like I have kind of always been in that industry. My career prior to this was in marketing. So I managed social media and brand management for a lot of different accounts. My first job out of college was actually working for a shoe designer in LA, which was really fun for a young 20 something year old
Yeah.
working in the fashion industry, going to fashion shows. But nothing really felt aligned. Like I didn't have like any strong pull to continue working in the fashion industry in that capacity. I didn't feel any strong pull to become a makeup artist or to become a photographer, even though I had all of the resources at hand. Um, and but now I'm a mom. Fast forward a little bit, I'm a mom of three kids, and I love doing family photos. I love having every season, as many seasons of life documented professionally as possible. It's my love language. I would skip every birthday gift, every Christmas gift in order to just get family photos or pictures of me with my kids. My husband, not so much. And so I started early motherhood. I think a lot of us start blogs and things like that. And I would write about motherhood, and I did a lot of blog posts on styling for family photos, and those got a lot of traction on Pinterest. Um, I would here and there respond to model calls from photographers that I would follow online, and they would. If they would pick us, it'd be really fun. I would really enjoy kind of working together with people who had the same passion for styling as I did. And I responded to a model call for Kayla Locke, who is, very well known in the photography world. And I had really no idea that she had such like a big following. Um, and her and I were, she styles all her model sessions. And I was very hands-on with like, she would send me some ideas, I would send some back, and then I would put them in a mood board. And she's like, is this your job? Like, why are you doing this? I'm like, no, it's not. I just really like this. I showed her some blog posts, and after that session, of like she shot our family, she just asked me, hey, like you're really good at this. You have a really good eye for this. There's a huge need for this. Do you want to come on board as my stylist? So I said yes. I had like huge imposter syndrome. Sorry, huge
Of
imposter
course.
syndrome, thinking like, why are you, this photographer that people pay all over the country to learn from, asking me to be your stylist? Um, but she really believed in me, and I feel like that was such like a light bulb moment. I felt like all of my strengths, all of these random skills that I had been developing basically my whole life, meshed perfectly together to create this career. And so that was in 2021. And now, it's really encouraging to see how much this service is needed in this industry, and how both photographers and families like really appreciate having the resources to feel confident when they show up for their family photos.
It is so needed. That is such a fun story. I went up,
Thank
there's
you.
a lot to like pick apart and unpack there
Yeah,
too.
sorry,
Like,
that was so long.
oh
long.
no, that's perfect because it gives us a really great, picture of like that was like a natural evolution for you. Like, I mean, it was just like I love that you were just kind of like you followed each little step, like, oh, okay, I'll do that. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
and then things just like sort of opened up for you. And you like fell into like most of us, I feel like creatives kind of do, right? Like we kind of
Mhm.
quote unquote fall into like our passion and then realize, oh, I could actually make money at this probably if I
Yeah.
really wanted to. And because of your marketing background, you were able to. That's the really cool part. I love that you kind of came from this like wild existence of like being raised by like models and creatives and photographers and makeup artists. Like, oh my God, tell me a little bit about what that was like before we get into the nuts and bolts of like what you do for, like photographers and how that all works. Cause I definitely want to get into that. But like, what was it like growing up? Like, do you have siblings? Like, were you just sort of like, just what was your childhood like? That seems so fun.
Yeah, so I always kind of joke that it's like being raised by wolves, because unless you've experienced it, you don't really understand it. All my friends were
Mhm.
kind of like, "Wait, your parents, they're so cool," and I'm like, They're just my parents." So my parents were international models all through the 80s and 90s. They met in Zurich, Switzerland, both modeling abroad, and those that's series of their life ended up turning into careers behind the camera in a different way. So my dad is a fashion photographer, um, and my mom is a makeup artist. And so lots of photo shoots at our house. Basically, my
Yeah.
brother and I were always the guinea pigs for testing light. Mom would do my makeup. My dad would, we actually had in our living room growing up, we had mounted of like the paper backdrops
Yes.
mounted in our living room. So my dad would roll them down. It's like to set up a studio. Um, constantly like jumping fences to test a location out. And I mean, also just the typical like when you're a teenager and your parents were models, it's not just like, oh, Stacy's mom, like Stacy's mom is hot. Like, okay, yes, my mom is gorgeous, but my dad is also very good looking. So that was like just annoying in high school. It was so annoying. Like, oh my God, Whitney's dad. And he totally
Hilarious.
like would just try to embarrass me. We lived in a small town in Northern California, and I would get texts from my friends like, Whitney's dad is at the community pool in a Speedo. I'm like,
Oh my God.
just kill
That
me.
is so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, that is exactly how I thought it would be.
Mhm.
Like that is so interesting to me. Oh my gosh. And growing up as someone who grew up like I mean I was like a teenager and then in my early 20s in the 80s and 90s like
Mhm.
like there's that whole time period vibe too that I could just
Yeah,
absolutely vibe with. Like
for
that's so
sure.
cool. That's so cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you work with photographers because obviously there's a lot of photographers in my community and this is a very big need. Like, this is something that I hear a lot about from photographers in my coaching groups and just even my clients. Like, what do I wear? And not all of us, like, yes, I feel like as photographers, we're creatives and we have an eye. But that I'm going to tell you, like, that is not where I want to spend my time. Like, even
Mhm.
if I enjoy putting stuff together, like even with my seniors, I have a lot of other things going on, right? Like I got all this other stuff that I got to do. I got to be like the marketing, the social media person. I've got to be the marketer, the head of the business. And like now I've got to also, walk my clients through all of this, how to prep and what's going to look good on camera. And I love that, you know, we don't necessarily have to do that, kind of walk us through what that looks like for you. Like if you were going to work with a client or like do you work with certain photographers or is it client by client basis? Like how does that work for you?
So I do work client to client. I also work directly with photographers. Some photographers actually build my packages into their packages, and some photographers just have me on more of like a one-off or a need be basis. So if they're doing a styled shoot or a retreat and they really want to have a professional style their model family, then they'll bring me in for that. In terms of, I don't have like a retainer package at the time. That's definitely something that's, maybe going to come to fruition at some point.
Hmm.
But for now, I just work on a project basis with families and photographers. I have another service that was my most popular service last year. That I've kind of revamped for 2024. And it's called my Made for You mood boards. And that is like for photographers who maybe offer mini sessions, or they can't necessarily budget to have every single one of their clients styled, but they do want to offer that resource to them. So what they get is they get a link to a page that is customized for them. So it has their logo at the top. I create mood boards. They can do 2 mood boards, four mood boards, and they can continue to add. And with those mood boards, there's another tab that has a live shopping catalog. So I catalog more than just what's seen in the mood board for their clients to be able to shop. So they know everything that's in this tab fits within this mood board. And
Oh, that's
so
so
I can
cool.
shop for my toddler son or my preteen daughter. And there's examples based on the photographer's prompt. So an example, a lot of what I'm doing right now is Mother's Day minis. So there will be a lot of examples of things that a mom could wear based on the setup that photographer's doing. None of this is AI generated. None of this is an algorithm. This is me styling based on your prompt. So you send me your location or your studio setup. You send me the parameters. I typically have moms with children under 10, and then I will create that page for you to send out to your clients so they have a live catalog with the visuals to go with it.
Okay, that's amazing.
That
Yeah,
was a
that
lot.
is cool. No, but like I want to break that down. Like
Yeah.
and I think that obviously, yes, I mean like if you guys are listening to this in the future, like, we're recording this in like, February 2024, because I know your
Mhm.
business is going to grow and evolve, just like
Yeah.
disclaimer, things could change as always, right? But I like that you have these different options, like the option to work directly with the client, and make it a little bit more custom like that for them. But these mood boards are really cool because of that shoppable aspect, especially. Like that's the stuff that gets me stumped. A lot of us senior photographers, especially, we we do these like styled shoots a lot, right? And like you were saying, like, and that's what I love about it, is that you could really help us find where to source some of these things, and I know you work mainly with families, but I do think you also do some seniors. Yes, is that correct?
I do. So that is, I have a couple things in the works for seniors. I have styled seniors in the past, but what I was noticing is these seniors, they have a lot of their own ideas, or maybe they don't email back the same way that an elder millennial would. And so we kind of, we're bouncing back between like mom and then them. And so I'm kind of trying to create something that is a little bit more useful. And then also for the photographers, that's cost effective. And
Mm-hmm.
so probably where you saw me was I was basically marketing that my made for you mood boards can work for seniors. I've already had a couple photographers hire me to create these mood boards for seniors. The way that I've started doing it is I have a mood board for girls and a mood board for guys, and then each of them have their own shopping catalogs. And in the mood boards, I provide some direction, like a cute little write up of like, this is a timeless, like you want like a timeless outfit. Then you want something that's a little bit more trendy and kind of on brand for you and your personal style, maybe a fun color. And then something kind of more simple, like, jeans and a shirt that you could maybe add in like a college sweatshirt or a college hat. And just kind of guiding them along those parameters. Like, here are 3 to 4 ideas of, depending on how many outfit changes your session allows for, here are 3 to 4 types of outfits you should be looking for. And then toggle over to the finds tab. Here are a bunch of outfit ideas that you can click on and shop directly from there. So you're not having to think of, well, where do I find a romper like that? They can
Yeah.
click on it and see. And I try to be conscious of like, I want some variety. Some people might be a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
modest. Some people might want something a little bit more flirty and fun. And then also with styling moms, some people might want something a little more flowy. They might have just had a baby. And so adding to that mood board a bunch of options. I would say there's probably 4 to 6 options per person on the mood board, like for a family. So like for mom,
Hmm.
you might have 4 to 6 dress options that would fit within the parameters of that mood board. For the seniors, there might be 4 to 6 outfit options that are like a timeless classic. 4 to 6 outfit options that are trendy on brand for this year's senior.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I know because like I have a style guide and a lot of us do, like a lot of senior
Yeah.
photographers have style guides. I've created my own based on our Gen Z, our younger clients, right? Because like as you said, they're very different.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started shooting seniors, it was the early 2000s and I was working with millennials and it was easy because millennials love to share and social media was new and it was, and now this is a whole different story, right? Like so their style is very, very different in a lot of ways. And obviously, this varies per area and region and per person as well. But I always talk about that in my style guide. It's like, I want you to feel like you, like, yes, I know mom wants this on her wall, but like, this is really your session too. Like, so how
Mhm.
can we, meld those two worlds and make both mom and both the teenage girl, especially happy
Yeah,
because the
for
teenage
sure.
boy is just going to basically usually do whatever mom says because he's doing it for mom. That's my experience. But the
Yeah.
girls are very much like, they also have a very specific sort of vibe or look that they're going for. And I really, really want to honor that. And so I love that you kind of brought that up as well, because I'm sure you're going to run into it even more as our, teen clients, we go from like Gen Z to Gen Alpha, which is, I
Yeah.
always talk about like, it's like Gen Z on crack
Yeah,
there.
trying to keep up with their trends while also making it something that mom is going to be happy to
Yes.
still pay for, still send a copy to grandma. And I do actually provide in there, I'll put almost like a quick guide, not like a
Mm,
full PDF, but I'll drop in there just kind of some guidelines or some bullet points. And part of it is like you want to have at least one look that you can send out to your grandmother. And
yeah.
then you want to have one look that's fun and you feel like really aligned with who you are in this season. And it might not be a timeless photo, but it's capturing who you are in this moment. It's capturing your personal style. I think that's kind of the fun thing about capturing senior photos is like you will look back
Yeah.
probably in 20 years and you're probably going to laugh at yourself for the styles because it's like what we wore in the, early 2000s or 90s is like I mean,
It's coming
kind
back.
of coming back, but it's like a little cringy to us, but it's like you
Yes.
wouldn't want to just have you want to be on trend with what's happening here and now. That's the point of photos
Hmm.
is to capture the moment. And so I do like that you said honor that. And I try to just provide some guidelines of like, here's what's going to photograph well. Within, you can still add your personal touch on it. Here are maybe some things to think about, some colors to
Yeah.
avoid, or maybe think about adding a layer. Just things that will still make it look good on camera while still honoring their personal style and just also give them like a starting point because it can feel
Hmm.
really overwhelming to shop the entire internet. So
Yeah.
giving photographers this link, it's easy. They can text it to their clients, they can email it to their clients. It comes up branded with their logo at the top. And it just gives their clients a roadmap of like, here are some visual aids, and here is a catalog that has been curated by an actual stylist for you
Yeah.
to shop from. Now, the second piece of what I'm going to start offering for seniors, and I haven't quite like hashed out all the details yet, but and I think I'm only going to offer it to photographers who purchase the made for you mood boards for seniors is like a 30-minute consultation so where they
Oh,
can either we can Zoom or I have a client portal that people can upload photos from items in their closet or try on photos. And then I will provide feedback. And if it's like, I just need someone to fill in the gaps. I don't know what shoes to wear or what accessories to wear, or like, I love these jeans, but I can't find the right top. And they might just need someone to kind of give them a little bit of guidance. Um, I feel like that will be something that can kind of supplement what I'm already doing with the made for you mood boards.
Yeah, I can see that being really popular actually, because it's like I was talking about in the beginning. I mean, we might have an idea, but again, we're in so much of the other parts of our businesses,
Yeah.
it's a lot. And so being able to even offer that to the client in addition to the link. So I do want to just like, I'm glad that you also highlighted that, because I was gonna ask you like, okay, how is this delivered? So I love that it's digital, it's a link, they can open it, it's branded, it's not like cumbersome for
Mhm.
people to use. So that's awesome. And then from there, okay, well, let's take it a step further. Like, do you guys need a little bit more help? Like a lot of us senior photographers, and myself included, we have like a style closet. I don't like to have I don't have a lot of stuff in my style closet because
Mhm.
styles change. And a lot of my clients, a big pain point I've heard from my younger teens, especially, is that they don't want to wear the same stuff that their friends wore. That's the other
Sure.
thing. They want to be unique and they want to wear something different. So I have some pieces that are like staple pieces, right? Like,
Mhm.
okay, this would look good, but like, let's make it look like something else, right? Like, so that's where a stylist can really come in and you can like really put your eye to it and say, yes, this is a great piece and it could be very retro or it could be really modern, but let's pair it with something else and make it unique to you. And it'll look completely different than what like somebody else wore it like.
Absolutely.
Um, so that's what's really cool about it, right? So I can imagine that. I bet I can see this. I don't know if this is something you already do, but like sending you, like those of us who have these pieces, sending that to you if this is like something that we do with you long term, right?
Mhm.
So you know what our pieces are, and then you can sort of play with that. Is that something that
Yes.
you do as well?
So I have a styling platform that I work out of. It's a client management tool, but it's also it's specifically designed for stylists. So when
Oh,
I'm styling, I'm clipping images. That's how I'm able to have everything linked. So you're browsing it as almost like Pinterest, like you just see pictures in the catalog, but then it's linked to everything, and so it's easy for me. It's very efficient. Every client that fills out my questionnaire gets a client profile. And with that client profile, they have a virtual closet, they have a lookbook section, and then a find section. So if whether I'm styling like a family, they'll have that closet section so they could upload. Maybe mom already bought her dress and she wants me to style around that. She can upload it. Or maybe she wants to try something on and I can give her some tips on like, let's add a layer, let's French tuck that, let's add a belt. But for photographers, it's been really useful because when they fill out the questionnaire for photographers, they also get that digital closet and
mm.
they can upload their client closet pieces. And I can actually pull those into mood boards, whether I'm styling an individual client for them or I'm making the made for you mood boards, I can put those into those as well.
Hey, photographers, popping in really quick with two things that I need you to know about that are time sensitive. The first one is that I have a sale on my style guide. So while we're on the topic of style and fashion for your high school seniors, I have a Canva template that you can download and use for your own business. You can customize it and you can even use my images. All the details are below in the link you'll find there. It is geared toward our Gen Z clients. So it is very, very current and modern. And I've gotten nothing but fantastic feedback from both my clients and also the photographers who've purchased it. So all that info is below for you. And the sale is good for 1 week only. The other thing is that I do have 2 spots only open for one-on-one coaching in the month of March. If you want in on that, hit the link below. We're going to hop on a quick Zoom call and we need to chat about whether this is right for you, whether you're ready for it. I pour a lot of myself into one-on-one coaching, as you can imagine, and I don't offer it year-round in large quantities just because I already run a group coaching program that you can find info about down below as well as my own photography business. I have a lot going on, but I love, love, love coaching you guys one-on-one because that's where we can dig in and get everything done very quickly. It is the most efficient way to scale your business, especially if you've been in business for a minute and you are stuck or stagnant, you're having an issue with maybe one particular thing. Or even if you are at the beginning of your business, it's a fantastic way to build it foundationally because you get access to my entire vault of educational content, which is a lot. So we can go over all of that on a call. I will put some links down below for you, but you definitely want to jump on that ASAP. I've had a bunch of calls this week and I only have 2 spots open. So, will it be you? Let's chat.
So then any photographer that I'm working with, any of their clients that come through are tagged accordingly. So I have like every photographer that I work with on a regular basis has a tag, and any of their clients get that, and I can filter and drop in their client closet pieces to that. I know that was a lot,
Yeah.
but yes, the long answer or the short answer is yes. There is a space for photographers to like a hub for them to put all of their pieces, even if it's not just like clothing pieces. A huge part of
Mm-hmm.
my business is actually I do a ton of vintage shopping, and I style blankets, baskets, belts, things that I'm like, oh, here, this just needs a little something extra. And I feel like that's kind of what sets me apart as a stylist is that I'm not afraid to like venture off of all the same websites that everyone's looking at. I'm gonna go put like some feet to the ground and go hunt down an Afghan blanket for you, or like you need a vintage fishing basket to like really make this story come alive. Like I'm gonna find it for you. And so that's been a really fun, like just different piece of my business, is really adding in like all of those little details that make it just tell like your specific story that you're trying to tell, whether it's an ornate like belt or a bracelet from your grandmother. We can incorporate all of that.
Okay, that's really amazing. I love those little pieces. They make such a big difference. And
They
again,
really do.
I love that, you know, I love that that's an option. And I know that there's a lot of photographers out there who are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I don't really know. This is like my brain is kind of going off in like 500 different directions just thinking about those possibilities. But like,
Yeah,
it
it's so
really
much fun.
does. I bet it's really fun for you, because like you love doing it, but like I can imagine that the clients also like what's happening is that the clients are just feeling so much more taken care of. And those of us who do have, a higher end luxury business where it is high touch, we're creating an experience, we're not like just kind of shoot and burn photographers like, hey, meet me at the park, I'll shoot you pictures and give you a flash drive. Like this is, what I do and what I teach is more of this boutique level, and this is perfect for us because this adds to that experience so much more, and we're not having to actually do it.
Yeah, I
So
feel like photographers, they just don't have the bandwidth, especially in the busy seasons. And it's like
mhm.
for some clients, they might take family photos once a year. It might be once every couple of years, and you really want them to love their pictures. And you could be the most talented photographer out there, but if your family shows up in something that A, doesn't photograph well, or B, doesn't flatter their bodies, or doesn't fit like your editing style, they're not going to be the images that like you're happy with or that they're happy with. And my goal, both as a business owner and as a mom, is to take the stress out of that for both the families and the photographers. So they want to rebook, they want to print their photos, they want to share their photos, because what good are these if they're just sitting in your camera roll? You want to feel proud of them. You want to feel like you came as your best self and that you weren't stressed out to the max. And yeah, it is a luxury service, and unfortunately, like it's not something that maybe everyone can afford, which is why I've tried to offer some different packages. Like maybe every photographer can't build in like individual styling for each client, but they can do mini session mood boards a couple times a year to add that value to their clients and send that to them and say, hey, here are 4 mood boards based on the locations I'll be shooting in the fall. And these are some examples of what to wear and an entire catalog for you to look through and shop from. And then, you never know, that client might end up just hiring me to style them, or they might just use that as a resource and know. I think people appreciate, they get a lot of confidence out of having that guidance. And
Mhm.
it reflects good on the photographer. It makes them, like you said, feel taken care of. And if they feel like they weren't stressed, their husband wasn't stressed, um, they're more likely to rebook you and make
Yeah.
this more of an annual thing. Or for me, like I like to shoot family photos in the spring and in the fall, or every any occasion that I've got
Yeah.
time into.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that is a really good point about making it easy for everybody involved. Because, yeah, I mean, I always tell that to my family clients. I don't shoot as many families as I used to, but it definitely is a pain point, like not everybody wants to be there. It's usually for the mom, and,
Yeah.
the husband is just kind of like dragged along, usually, not always, but it's nice that that's one thing that they don't have to stress about. Like that is a big, big, big stressor for most people, is like, how do I make this all work? And like also coordinating, when you have like multiple kids and, you're thinking about like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I know I'm going to want wall art. So I have to think about what's going to look good on my wall and what colors should, like, it's just a lot for a lot of people. And not everybody's brains works that way. Like not everybody can just go on Pinterest and be like, oh, okay, I got it. I figured it out. It's
Yeah.
stressful.
I think
And so, yeah.
that's kind of where I come in, is connecting the visual. Because I think a lot of people can go on Pinterest and say, I like this, but then it's from taking that from just a pretty picture on your phone to like, where do you even find an outfit like
Exactly.
that? Or how do I like this style of dress, but maybe a different color. And then now I'm completely overwhelmed with trying to coordinate outfits that are still that vibe, but completely different colors. And I know there's a lot of services out there that will, use whatever technology there is to curate mood boards for you based on a certain set of questions. And that's great. And that's a great starting point for some. But a lot of people really want to talk to a human being and have their feedback. Like there's a lot of things to consider. Some of my photographers don't like to shoot certain colors. Some people don't like to wear certain colors. Like an AI isn't always going to get all of those
Yeah.
is, and it's not always going to take those into consideration. And then also just things like, I'm a mom, I've had 3 children. I understand what it feels like to like be in a different body than I was in 7 years ago, and honoring
Yeah.
that and really taking the time, the extra time to make sure that mom feels really good in what she's wearing. Because if mom feels good, like everything else is going to fall into
Yes.
place. And I feel like just that personal touch, and making them just guiding them through the process,
Mm-hmm.
while also like having that kind of authority in some sense of like, this is my job and I'm going to give you my best feedback. And so people do, I feel like they almost feel really confident in making a decision and like actually pulling the pieces and pulling the trigger on things, because they're like, oh, like a stylist is helping me. Where
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I feel like if their photographer is guiding them, they almost just kind of like, oh, like, thanks so much. Or like, I read your style guide, but then they just go rogue. It's like if you
Right.
have someone that's like touching base with you multiple times and following up, and with the way that I do my process, I feel like they end up actually showing up styled according to like the photographer's brand guidelines a lot more often than if they just get a stagnant PDF.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That point of contact and ongoing like that really makes a big difference in so many different for many different reasons.
Yeah.
And I love, you're so right. If mom's happy, everybody's happy. That's, I mean, as a mom of 3 grown kids, I 100% agree with that. And yeah, my body has changed so many different ways. And so it's an ongoing stressor, like what's going to look
Mhm.
good in pictures. Like, yeah, we might have an idea of like what we would like it to look like, but realistically that's not my body type. I don't really, it doesn't work on me in the same way. And I don't want to spend 5 hours in a dressing room like actually, going through all of this myself and having to find out the hard way, when I could just have a stylist go, yeah, this is going to look better on you and this color is going to look better on you and it's going to work better in your house and it's going to feel more
Mhm.
cohesive. And, there's so much to think about, even with just like color theory, if you want to get into that whole thing,
Yeah.
that's a whole other topic. But even
Yeah.
with seniors and senior girls, that's something that I hear a lot about. Like we're dealing with very fragile teenage girls, right? I mean, a lot of them already have body image issues. A lot of them have already gone through so much of that at a very young age. And they are the selfie generation. So they're really used to the way they're going to look on their selfie camera.
Mhm.
It's a whole different thing
The
when someone
filter.
else.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yes. So that is something to, to speak to. And I like that this gives them that option of, yes, I'm the professional here. I know it's going to look great on you. Here's some suggestions, like, and here's why, right? Like, because I feel like they definitely are going to get more than just a great photo that they're going to look good in. They're actually learning. Like, you're teaching them about this if you're working with them like that. And I think that's so
Yeah.
cool.
I think for the senior girls, like we've all been in that season of life. We know how hard that is, and you are in such a like a pivotal moment in your life. Like you want to be your own person, but you also want to fit in, and you want to, self-love is such a big thing that really was not a huge thing when I was
Yeah,
in high school, but
same.
like self-love, but also, you do have these self-deprecating thoughts. And I do feel like part of what's really fun about this is that you kind of have your it's like a spa day, like where you go out and you feel really pampered. And I feel like that's a really fun moment for a teenage girl to work with a stylist, have a virtual closet. Her and I can comment back and forth on each piece. So I can give that personal feedback. Like if she's like, oh, I really like this top, but I don't like the color yellow. I'm like, okay, so here's what I really like, why I pulled this for you. This neckline would look great, really great on you, or whatever. We can comment back and forth. And she can kind of feel like, when she goes back to her friends, like, oh, I had a stylist like style my senior photo.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a fun piece um, of it. And, I have spent most of my adult life in like the women empowerment space. So I
Hmm.
ran a local pageant in the Miss America organization for 8 years, coached many, many girls through that process. And it's truly like a self-development process. And so I feel like I take a lot of that just kind of like wanting people to feel really good about themselves. I really put that into like my styling and consider how people feel and how I want them to feel when they show up on their photo session day um,
That's
into
so
my
important.
process. Yeah.
That's so awesome and so important. And it is that higher touch experience. I mean, like I'm always talking to photographers about how are you setting yourself apart? How are you going the extra mile without, putting yourself out like out there too much without, giving too much of yourself, obviously. Where's that line? How's that? You know what I mean? Like, but it's so important that we do go the extra
Mhm.
mile and under promise, over deliver. And this is a fantastic resource. Like you are a fantastic resource for us to be
Thank
able
you.
to do that. Because I feel like more and more now with things like AI and all of these different things, just in general, the personal touch is going to matter even more
You can
because
tell. Yeah.
it's going to be rare. Like in the future, I mean, I can already see it, like, yeah, I'm all for AI for certain things, but you really are going to, like you said, people will be able to tell that an actual human being had a hand in this
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
means more and it's the feeling. It's the
Hmm.
feeling.
It's
And that's
that
what you just touched
confidence.
on. Hmm.
Yeah, of knowing I feel like it's like a confidence boost of knowing like sometimes you just need another human being to like validate like that looks good or let's try this for you to know like okay, you're right. Like a lot of people show up and they have already picked a couple of things. I'm like, "No, these are great. Like here's like how we can make this feel
Hmm.
complete." And yeah, that personal touch. I also kind of wanted to touch on what you said about photographers. Like you guys have a certain bandwidth, as does every human being on the planet, right? And the reason that it's, I would say, like if I'm pitching myself, is to delegate some of this over to a stylist is because just like when you're editing, you have batch processes that you do to batch some of your work. So you're not reinventing the wheel every single time. And you have certain workflows that allow you to be more efficient and get more done within the parameters so you're still profitable. The same in my business. So me and a photographer could style the exact same thing, but I might have been able to do it more efficiently because I have a lot of workflows and things on the back end that allow me to batch a lot of these things, or I have a lot of rhythms. And I am 100% that's my focus. And so if you're only styling something once every couple of weeks, you don't know that H&M just dropped, 7 new cardigans. I have those
Hmm.
things like top of brain all the time. So it's really fast for me to be like, okay, we need a dusty blue Henley. And I'm like, I just saw that somewhere and I can find it very quickly, where it might take your brain a long time to catalog that,
Yeah.
scour the internet, where I'm constantly indexing that stuff in my mind. And I'm walking around when I'm at vintage stores or I'm just shopping for my own family. And I'm making mental notes of like, that
Hmm.
had great texture. What was that brand? That, this looked really great. I'm going to make sure that I clip that for that client. And so that's why I would say for a photographer, it does, behoove you to delegate some of that, because then you can do what your wheelhouse is even
Yes.
better because you have the mental bandwidth to do that.
Yeah,
You know?
you're in your zone of genius. And that's what it's about. Like, like you're in your zone of genius doing this and we're in ours. And so that's when everything can become elevated.
Mhm.
That's that power of like outsourcing and delegating and, bringing other people into your universe who are going to be of like mind, right? And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, is because yes, I want to tell people about the service, but like who you are as a person matters, because the feeling and your background and all of these other little things really make a big difference in all of this. It's not just like hiring a random service, right? It's like,
Mhm.
okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of like why this is so why it can be so elevated. And a lot of
Yeah.
it has to do with because of who you are. So I'm really glad. Thank you for coming and doing this. I know you don't normally do podcasts or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming and chatting with us. I feel like this is such an amazing topic, an amazing service, and you're such a cool person. So thank
I
you so
appreciate
much
that.
for being here with us, and tell people how you prefer them to find you, get in touch with you if they want to talk to you about what you're offering and all of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. Great first podcast experience. So the best place to find me is Instagram. My handle is at styled by WI. A lot of people think I live in Wisconsin, but those are just my initials, Whitney Irene. So styled by WI, kind of rhymes. And from there, we can chat. If you are a photographer or a family that's interested in booking, I can send you the questionnaire straight from there. And then after that, we move over into like your client portal. I'm also going to be dropping a mini styling course inside of the Chrysalis Collective in April. So for photographers who want to learn a little bit more about kind of the method behind the madness, how to create a mood board that is not just this,
Yeah.
boring thing, like something that actually is captivating, that will resonate with your clients. And then also a seasonal style guide that is actually shoppable, that will update as the seasons change and progress. It's not stagnant and can be changed and customized to your brand. It's a template that you're allowed to
Oh,
edit
wow.
out. All of those will be available inside of the Chrysalis Collective on April 1st.
That's exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
I will put those links in the show notes, as as far as like the ones that I have access to now, and they can always get in touch with you about everything else as well if they have any more questions. But definitely you guys reach out to her, follow her. I think this is really, really such a cool thing that you're doing. And I just want a lot of people to get to know you.
Yeah,
So
reach out. I live in the DM, so shoot me a DM. I'm happy to answer questions. I also do have you can test drive my Made for You mood board service if you're a photographer who's interested in that. I do have like a test link, so you can go on. Everything is exactly how it would be if you were to purchase that service. Only your logo would be at the top, and you can have as many different mood boards added in there as you want, and as many different catalogs. But it's still shoppable. You can still click on it and check it out. And I can have you put that in the show notes if you'd like as well, so people can
yeah.
see what that service actually looks like and get like a little hands-on view.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Well,
Thank you
thank
so
you so
much.
much for being here. It was so great chatting with you. And yeah, I can't wait to see how your business just grows. I love seeing new creative businesses just thrive. So best
Thank
of
you
luck
for the
to you.
opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Okay, my brain is swimming with ideas and possibilities after speaking with Whitney. I can't wait to see what you guys also come up with. And I'd love to hear about your takeaways from this episode, as well as if you are going to work with her or if you've worked with her, like hit me up in the DMs over on Insta at Renee Bowen. I always love chatting with you guys. I also have a channel over there that is really not specifically for the podcast, but it's definitely geared more toward the podcast listeners. So join the channel as well. You can find that on my Instagram profile. I also drop specials and discounts and things like that in there first. So you'll be in the know before anybody else if you join that little channel of mine. And I really think that, services like hers, like I was talking about before, are really cutting edge right now. Like the more we can provide one-on-one service, high touch, services to our clients to make them feel special, to make them feel really taken care of. What a fantastic thing to offer. So, I don't know about you, but I've been in this business for a long time, and it's hard to find other creatives and stylists who you can work with, who you can rely on, right? It's like my makeup artist, Jamie, and I always talk about this. Like, I've been very, very lucky and fortunate to have Jamie for all these years. We've worked together for like a million years, and that's rare. We always talk about the fact that unfortunately, with creatives like makeup artists and even hairstylists, sometimes it can be really hard to find somebody you can rely on because they have a bad rap for being, a little flaky. So I love finding creatives who are taking their businesses seriously and are highly professional and completely put together. And that is 100% Whitney. So definitely get in touch with her and let me know how it goes. So that's it for this week. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. As mentioned earlier, I'd love to chat with you guys if you are in that place of your business where you feel like enough is enough. I'm sick of not making any money. I'm ready to be profitable and I'm ready to, be able to spend time with my family. So if that's you, I got you. Hit me up in the links below and let's chat about how I can help you and your business scale and thrive in 2024. Have an amazing week, you guys. Love you. Bye.